The real issue here is we don't have enough Singaporeans. I'll give you a very stark example. If you look at the hotel industry alone, 10 years ago there were 30-something thousand rooms, right? Now we've doubled. In the next 2 or 3 years, there's going to be another 15,000 rooms. Has the workforce grown by the same measure? No. So the tourism industry has seen compound growth in the double digits, right? And our workforce is not growing. So in a sense, how are we going to man these hotels that are coming out in the next year?
I do understand the challenge because in Europe, everyone operates on the same basis. They're tight for manpower. So if you're a 5-star hotel, you will have a lot of self-help facilities. Here, the challenge is that you're in a region where competitors actually have abundant manpower.
Yes.
So they can do a lot of things. You can have someone at the door greeting you. In Europe, you may not have that, but then you're looking at your competitors, they have this. If I don't have this, that sets me at a disadvantage. That's something that we've got to figure out how best to manage. Given that we are growing, can we be leaner in the way we operate? We are working closely with the unions to train our people up so that even with fewer people, we can be efficient and effective. So this is a very major transformation effort that we really got to get around because we can't grow at the kind of pace that we used to before. Physically, socially, you can't manage that. But you also need to maintain a level of growth. So this is the rate of growth that we think we can manage. Now, within this constraint, how do we best manage?
I'll just share a story that happened a couple of days ago. My granddaughter had a fever, pretty high, 39, so we took her into KK. Now, there's a sign there that says, average waiting time 4 hours. This is just for the nurse, Luckily, we got there within 3. She referred our granddaughter to the doctor, so that was probably another 40 minutes or so. So we were there about 3 hours, 40 minutes. What was interesting was frontline nurses were Filipinos. The doctor was a Filipino as well. So there's obviously some kind of labor crunch somewhere, how many people we need, and whether the system can be improved.
We are also beginning to age as a society. And that, I think, also creates that strain. So I think we are ramping up in terms of facilities, but facilities you can build. People, to train them will take time. Liak will probably know this. It's not easy to find Singaporeans wanting to be nurses, but you need nurses.
The last 6-7 years, we had to double the number of healthcare workers, partly because the demand has gone up quite a bit because of aging as well. And there is no way we can have enough Singaporeans filling up all the nurses' position and all the other ancillary staff position that we need. So the last couple of years, we depend quite a bit on hiring foreign workers. About 30-40% of our nurses, for example, they are from Philippines, from China, from India, and so on. And many of them are very, very good. We need them. All right? And going forward, the aging is going to be even more rapid, and we are going to need many, many more. We simply don't have enough babies, and therefore don't have enough Singaporeans to fill up all those positions.
Even as an MP on the ground, you meet residents who are both entrepreneurs, similar, sometimes same sectors, different sectors. Most of them feel that I would like to expand, but I'm constrained because my quota doesn't allow me to have more foreigners. In the next breath, then he talks about, but Singapore getting a bit crowded. They are actually at odds. I would like more manpower on my front, but at the same time, as a Singaporean, when he wears that hat, he has that level of discomfort. We have to look at it not just internally. We just look at it within Singapore, but the competition is real. And my concern is that other people are competing with us at the same time. While we presume that these companies are here, there's nothing to stop them from leaving and going there. Countries are eyeing the businesses that are here. It's cheaper to operate in many other countries. Rents are lower. They have abundant manpower, resources, cheaper wages. That's something that we should think about, because what does it mean if we take an overly narrow perspective on these issues and become a bit, I won't say xenophobic, but perhaps a bit nationalistic about it. We think that it's the right thing to do, protect Singaporeans, but do you end up hurting Singaporeans?
But Minister, the last couple of years, we are busy building all the infrastructure, the flats, the roads, hospitals. There seems to be a lot of foreigners that come into Singapore. Someone said that we human beings are xenophobic by genetic programming.
Really?
In other words, we don't feel comfortable when we are among strangers. Is there anything we can do better to help Singaporeans adjust to having more strangers around?
Well, short of genetic reprogramming ourselves, there are things that we can do. One, of course, you promote more interaction, more assimilation. The other one, of course, is managing numbers. And that's what we've been trying to do in terms of tightening the rate of growth. We do need foreign manpower to play a part in the economy, but we can manage the rate of growth. So you're right. I think there is discomfort. We can manage the infrastructure, and we're building it. Assimilation and interaction, that's something we can try to promote. And I think it's also important not to get the wrong narrative that Singaporean workers are not productive.
Correct, yeah.
Singaporeans compete with the best in the world. I think that's something that we are looking forward to developing further.
Michelle, would there be any reason for you to start up your business again in Singapore? And what were the conditions that you would ideally like?
We do constantly look at opportunities to open new restaurants, or because my husband's in the hotel business, so to do his hotels here as well. And we always think, oh yes, this is a good idea, oh this is a good location, this is a good group of people to bring here or whatever, but there's always this worry about the manpower. And because we experienced it ourselves, it is a very real worry. And then we have so many friends in the same business, and we meet for meals and we discuss the issues of the day, and it's always still down to manpower.
I do remember in the 60s when we followed the model of Japanese department stores that the staff were really well trained, Singaporean staff. I don't see that anymore 50, 60 years down the road. And I don't know whether it's a question of adopting some of the practices. I mean, Michelle is totally happy with what's happening in Japan, that the service culture, just the culture of commitment.
Commitment, but it's also, I mean, training is one part of it,
Yeah.
but I think attitude is the other part of it. And I don't know if you can change people's attitudes. I mean, I'm sure you can, because you want to stay competitive. You have to be willing to say, okay, I'm not just going to be at this level. I want to improve. I want to learn more things. I want to innovate. I want to be better every day. I want to be better next year.
I can't agree with the statement that Singaporeans now are not that trained now. We are rated quite high, in our work attitude and so forth. Perhaps we can do more. We have a big group of people doing shift work in Singapore, from transportation to energy sector.
That's true.
So are you
That's
saying
true.
then that Singaporean workers are choosy?
They can be choosy because the job market is
Things
tight.
are too good.
No, Frank, you know why? Because the job market is tight. I can be choosy. And I don't think it's wrong to be choosy.
I'd rather have this problem than have a problem where
choose a good job.
I want to look for jobs and I have difficulties. There will be Singaporean workers who are perhaps less than motivated. But there are actually many Singaporean workers who are also well equipped, well skilled, educated. The key is, how do we keep that going?
Half of my company, I would say, are Singaporeans, half of them are not. My front of house, she's Vietnamese, and they work almost willingly double the hours of a Singaporean. It's very difficult to find a Singaporean who wants to work X amount of hours in front and behind, back of house.
On weekends.
On weekends,
through the night.
But it's very important because, I mean, the demand is there in the society for growth, for new ideas and new food concepts, It's growing, and the demand is there because also we have 2 jobs, 3 jobs. There's no stopping people from having a daily job and then on the side a hobby to open up a cafe. So hence the increased number of companies opening because it's easy and it's accessible.
Do you know how many companies are being set up on a yearly net basis? It's about 20,000 companies. That means net of those who close, and then those who are coming in. It's 20,000 companies a year for the last 4 or 5 years. You can have a sense that the demand is quite scary for the kind of numbers. It's a good problem to have in the sense that the economy is healthy enough that people want to come in.
Are Singaporeans then losing their competitive edge then? I mean, a foreigner comes in hungry, willing to work hard.
They want to own it. They want to own the business, but they don't want to be in it to work.
Singaporean, and I think Janice will back me up here, in a junior position, will move up the career ladder much quicker than that same person would if he was in London or Paris or Hong Kong, simply because Singaporean workers are at premium. So let's say I start someone, commis at 1,800. I tell you, within 3 or 4 years, he's a senior CDP, right? And what's he going to be earning? He's going to be earning minimum 3.8 to 4. The sous chef level, another 2 years, he'll be on 5 to 6. And that's a career progression of, say, 6 years. And he has tripled his salary in 6 years.
I get the feedback as well that, we have no jobs, foreigners are taking away our jobs. We also know that there are opportunities, but what's your take on that?
I tell you from my own experience, practical experiences, a lot of Singaporeans come in, they will stay maybe, the ones who even take up the job, will stay maybe 3-4 months.
Those 4?
Yeah, those 4 who responded, But those who start at those positions, the attrition rate is very high. Because we have to face facts, it's not an easy profession. You've got to work weekends, you've got to work nights. When,
You're on your feet all day.
On your feet all day. You're spending your time behind a stove or serving someone else. That's the reality of our industry. And for the people who love it, they do really well. But for the vast majority of Singaporeans, we put out interview and someone comes in for an interview after the ads and they're like, but I don't want to work weekends. And I'm like, did you read the job description? It says restaurant service staff. I said, have you been to a restaurant that's shut on weekends?
But then, I mean,
so we
going
get so
back
many of those.
to your point, it's a growing economy.
It's a growing
so
economy.
That's why we have
Yeah.
options. I mean, Singaporeans have a lot of options.
When was the last time we really had a serious recession where people were out of jobs for long periods of time? I think we had to go back to 85. You had the Asian financial crisis. Even our recent financial crisis, we actually recovered. Many countries haven't quite fully recovered. So the strength of the economy is that you have a range of options. You have people who want a faster pace of life, a slower pace of life. You have dynamic jobs. If the wages are sufficiently competitive enough, Singaporeans will come on board. But competition is real because the foreigners don't need to be here to compete with us. Your colleague need not be next door. No, he could be in Manila. He could be in Bangkok. If you have foreigners who are here, applying for the jobs, keeping the company competitive, managing wages, at least the jobs are anchored here, and not only will you create those jobs for Singaporeans, by being here, you actually generate activity that actually SMEs support as well.
In a recent parliament speech, you highlight that you want to raise the quality of the foreign workers. And then we came out with a skills recognition framework for the construction sector. I think that has worked well because the salary for the Singaporean can be increased in a way because of the 1,800,
Why we made that move was that, when you have a lot of lower skilled foreign workers, you need numbers because of the skill level. But when you move that skill level up, that same one worker probably do more effective. For example, in construction, rather than we do 5-6 times, actually one time you get it over and done with. It also helps in terms of wages for Singaporeans who are in the industry. I know that there are not many, but there are Singaporeans working there.
2 days ago, I went to collect my passport at the ICA, and I managed to do all that without meeting a single person.
That's the future, right?
It's the future. You go in, security is automated, so efficient. The people behind me, they didn't read the instructions well, so they didn't bring their old passport, and they went there and tried to collect the new passport, and they couldn't complain. They couldn't complain to anybody because it's a machine. So that again, that brings about also a lot of productivity.
Brother, my daughter's aircon spoiled again. Can you send down someone today or not?
Sorry, next week can or not?
Huh? Why must wait so long?
Bro, not enough manpower. The government come up with what? Hiring quota for foreign labor. Everybody now got to try and automate. Aircon how to automate, you tell me? Now even the boss has to come to work.
Singapore's so hot. How you expect me to survive 1 week without aircon?
What to do? Singaporeans complain too many foreigners. So, government send them back lah.
You go see your MP or not? Like that, I think I must buy 2 aircons. One just to stand by,